Well, what are stories? They're interesting descriptions of people moving through time and space.
Those are the ones that stick.
You bet. Well, no one will listen to them otherwise, or write them.
Yeah.
They have to be interesting. So that means that our sense of meaning orients us to certain types of stories. You have an instinct that signals its presence to you. And part of that manifests itself as wonder. It's the openness to transformation. Because it isn't even the new ideas that are redeeming. It's the process of continually opening yourself up to the transformation of new ideas. That spirit of engagement. That spirit of engagement. You and I are engaging in dialogue. That's dialogos, right? So it's the manifestation of the logos dually. And what is that? It's redemption in action. That's what it is. So imagine this. You've got a bunch of worn out ideas and they're blinding you. And I got a bunch of worn out ideas and they're blinding me. And if we stumble forward in our blindness, we will fall into a pit. So what do we do about that? Well, I talk to you about what you think and I listen because, man, maybe you know something that I don't, that I need to know. There's a reason that in Revelation, Christ comes back with a sword to judge the elect and the damned, because that's a symbol of the operation of the logos. And the logos, even in dialogue, says, that's an interesting point. We'll keep that. Let's focus on that. Well, we can ignore that. We can get rid of that. We can junk that. There's a thread of meaning that guides this conversation. Thread of meaning that guides this conversation. Neither of us know what it is. We know when it manifests itself because we get interested, right? Think, oh, that's interesting. And then, you know, I say something, you think it's interesting, and you nail it with a bunch of words, and then I pick up some of the words and I think that's interesting and I nail it with a bunch of words. But there's this thread. By following that manifestation of spontaneous interest truthfully, we participate in this process that revitalizes our perceptions. And that's technically true. That's what's happening. And then what's even more cool than that is that there's nothing we can experience that we would rather do than that if it's happening intensely. That's the logos. Thread of meaning that guides this conversation. Let's focus on that. Well, we can ignore that. We can get rid of that. That's the logos. Part of the manifestation of the truth is a consequence of the alignment of these levels. It's like, that's what we mean when we talk about someone having integrity or being authentic. It's like they're the same all the way down. And not only that, they're where they are completely. So not only are they aligned internally, they're aligned with everything that's happening around them. That cosmic tree that unites levels of being. And we can climb that with our consciousness. We do it all the time. You know, if you're writing a book, you concentrate on the word or the paragraph or the whole chapter. You know, and when we're conversing, I could concentrate on each word or the phrase or the sentence or the context, or I could look around the room, up and down these levels of analysis. In yoga, you're trying to get your body psychophysiologically aligned so communication between all those levels isn't interfered with unnecessarily. And then that opens you up in some sense to the possibility of speech emanating from the depth. The fact that you can focus your attention almost completely on the current conversation means that the conversation becomes deep. Speech emanating from the depth, that's the logos. Let's focus on that. Well, we can ignore that. We can get rid of that. That's the logos. Speech emanating from the depth.